to this Integrated Intelligence Suite session on analytics. I am Rituparna Reddi from SAP Analytics Cloud Product Management, and I'm excited to share with you the integration of SAP Analytics Cloud with SAP applications. Analytics is one of the 7 suite qualities of the Integrated Intelligent Enterprise. And all applications of the intelligent enterprise are expected to have embedded and cross-analytics. So how do we do this? We use SAP Analytics Cloud, which is SAP's strategic analytics platform. We embed SAP Analytics Cloud in all SAP Cloud applications, as you see on the left. And with Enterprise SAP Analytics Cloud, we are able to do cross-analytics across different data sources, be it SAP applications or external data sources as well. Additionally, SAP Analytics Cloud is consumable as a service in the business technology platform. We provide APIs that can be used for programmatically embedding SAP Analytics Cloud into applications, and also we have APIs for tenant provisioning and all other lifecycle management of analytics. With SAP Analytics Cloud, we not only are providing analytics as a technology for embedding for our customers and partners, but all SAP applications are also embedding SAP Analytics Cloud. So looking now at SAP Analytics Cloud embedded in SAP applications, why are we doing this? What's the motivation behind embedding SAP Analytics Cloud in SAP applications? Firstly, we want to democratize analytics. That means we want the state-of-the-art analytics of SAP Analytics Cloud to be available to all analytics users in SAP applications, be it S/4HANA Cloud or SuccessFactors. All applications are able to use analytics with SAP Analytics Cloud, which leads also to harmonization of analytics across all these applications. So we have the same analytics user experience, the same analytics tool used across SAP applications. Also, these applications provide standard business content, and this standard business content is provided based on SAP Fiori for Analytics guidelines, which means that all the standard business content also have the same look and feel when any customer uses them. Another important point is contextualizing analytics. Well, analytics is business aware because it, after all, sits on business data. But when SAC is embedded into an application, then based on the analytics insights that you derive, you are able to navigate and take action directly in this application. You'll see an example of this in the demo of SAP S/4HANA Cloud embedding SAP Analytics Cloud. Now, looking at the high-level architecture of how are we embedding SAC in SAP applications, all applications that are embedding SAC in SAP are using SAP HANA. So what we are doing is we are having a live connectivity to SAP HANA in these applications. SAC is using the live connectivity in different forms based on the application. So for instance, here in this picture, as you see, SAP S/4HANA is using the BW Live connectivity, SAP SuccessFactors or Fieldglass or several others are using OEM integration service, which is an extended HANA Live connectivity. And SAP Cloud Platform is using SAP HANA Live connectivity. So The advantage of live connectivity here is that analytics is happening real time in embedded SAC. There is no replication of data happening in this case. Also, the SAC UI is embedded as a service in these applications. So basically, it is with URL API that the embedding is done in iframes. Now, because these applications are deploying SAC embedded, they are also along with this deploying predefined business content. And this predefined business content is, of course, based on the analytics workflow that this application needs to support. Now let's look at some examples of SAP Analytics Cloud embedded in SAP applications. The first example that I would like to show you is SAP S4HANA Cloud. SAP S4HANA Cloud has embedded SAC available to all its customers, generally available since Q4 2019, which means that all SAP S4HANA Cloud customers will out of the box have the integration with embedded SAC, also with standard business content deployed. Let's now look at a demo of how we are embedding SAP Analytics Cloud in SAP S4HANA Cloud.
S/4HANA Cloud seamlessly embeds SAP Analytics Cloud. An Analytics Cloud tenant is automatically provisioned to all S/4HANA customers along with standard business content. Here I see a pre-configured S/4HANA Fiori Launchpad. The tile dispute points to a predefined story. The story based on live connectivity is embedded in the Fiori shell, preserving all its VI capabilities along with additional features like Fiori variants and intent-based navigation. Intent-based navigation allows, in the context of a dimension, the possibility to jump to the relevant target applications. When I jump to the target, my selected context values are passed as filters to the target application. Going back takes me to the previous state of the story. Coming back to the Fiori homepage, we see the Manage KPIs and Report style, which is used by key users to create custom content. In addition to KPIs and reports, stories can also be created. Let's create a new story. The standard Fiori definition screen appears where you give the new story a name along with filling in additional fields. The Configuration tab brings up the story design time. A query dialog appears with the CDS views accessing live data of the embedding S/4HANA Cloud system. Select a query to include in your story. The input variables prompt of this query will also appear in the story. You can visualize the data in a chart by selecting required measures and dimensions. You can use all the charting capabilities of SAP Analytics Cloud here. You can add additional sources from this S/4HANA system and use the Activate button to save your story. I create an application to bind the story to a Fiori tile. By providing a target mapping, I am able to configure the jump to targets to a semantic object, enabling intent-based navigation. When I save and publish this application, I assign it to the business catalog for having it available in the Fiori homepage for specific roles. I hope this gives you an impression of seamless embedding of SAP Analytics Cloud in S/4HANA Cloud. Thank you.
Now let's look at an example of SAP Analytics Cloud embedded in SAP SuccessFactors, which is called SAP SuccessFactors People Analytics. Now, SAP Analytics Cloud is also generally available in embedded form for SAP SuccessFactors since Q2 2020, and customers are being ramped up in a phased approach. One thing about SuccessFactors has several modules, and these modules have their own analytics environments. With the introduction of embedded SAC, we are able to do cross analytics between these modules and having a single analytics environment for doing so by providing intelligent joins between these modules. So let's have a look now at a demo of SAP Analytics Cloud embedded in SAP SuccessFactors.
Welcome to a demo of SAP SuccessFactors People Analytics Embedded Edition with SAP Analytics Cloud. We are now logged in to the SAP SuccessFactors homepage as an SF administrator. To access the reports, we can jump into the Report Center. The Report Center acts as a single unified place where all SF reports can be accessed that have been listed while respecting secure role-based access. In the Report Center, you would see all SF reports. You can see the report story type of report, which is based on the integration of SAP SuccessFactors HXM suite with SAP Analytics Cloud. Using the action menu on the Report Center page, you can run, edit, rename, duplicate, and delete a report story, which was either created by you or shared with full control. You can also add a label to the story for easier categorization. Launching a report story opens up the embedded SAP Analytics Cloud story that is designed to unify the existing SuccessFactors solutions. This typically showcases different storytelling, reporting, and dashboarding capabilities available in SAC. What we see in the report is a key summary of the FTE and the headcount details for this particular organization that is further broken down into different attributes. All these different charts can also be linked. So if we take a look at manufacturing and we want to filter it down to the males in manufacturing, you will see that all the other linked charts in the page are filtered down and updated automatically. There are other pages within the report, like the recruiting effectiveness page. We have taken the data from the recruiting system along with data from the performance system to combine the ratings from performance and recruitment source. So here we can see the data showing the performance of employees, and next to it the data that show where they came from. So if we wanted to, we could filter down to see where those outstanding performers came from. Let's now get back to the report center to see how we can start creating these report stories. Let us start by creating a new report, and you're prompted to select the type of report. As mentioned earlier, we will choose the report story type to start creating stories in SAP Analytics Cloud. We are now being directed to the Query Designer page. You can create multiple queries, also called as models, in a report story. Let's select the Job Information module and drag and drop it onto the center stage. When we open up the related information here, we can see all the modules across SuccessFactors. Now these links do not need to be manually defined. We obviously understand the SuccessFactors data model and the configuration that you've applied to the system, and accordingly predefine these joins out of the box. In this case, I want to create a query using the job information data. So let me add the desired fields. Say the effective end date, the effective start date, and also the FTE and hire date. The great thing about these tables is that they are simply views representing the business semantics of that particular element as opposed to the raw underlying database tables, so you only see the information that's relevant to your needs. Let's now go ahead and add another table to fetch the user information. You'll notice that the system has created intelligent joins across all related modules before adding it. Now, let's repeat the exercise for adding the desired fields. Let's just go ahead and finish the query by entering a query name. Once you're done saving the query, which in SAC terms would be your private model, you'll be directed to the Story Designer page where you can start creating visualizations based off of the query you just designed. You can build multiple queries for a story. To edit an existing query or to add a new query, click the Add or Edit Data Sources, and here you can click the name of the query to edit it, or you can choose Add New Data Source to build a new query. After you add or edit the query, you would again be redirected to the story canvas.
So I hope these two demos gave you an impression of how embedded SAC works in SAP applications. You would have seen from these two demos that the runtime of SAC, of course, is the same, but how seamlessly SAC is also integrated into the workflow of the applications. For example, in S4HANA Cloud, the launch of SAC is from a Fury tile, while that in SuccessFactors is from the report center. Also, specifics like screen variants are available in S4HANA Cloud integration with SAC. So those are not the only two applications that have been generally available and have embedded SAC generally available, but there are others as well, and we look at some here. For instance, SAP Marketing Cloud has embedded SAC GA since 2018. SAP Commissions also is GA with embedded SAC. Sales Cloud and Service Cloud are currently in beta, and they will also go to a restricted GA end of this year. So would be the case with Fieldglass, which is already in a beta program. And Ariba network goes beta this year. More to come next year would be Concur, Ariba Spence, and many others. So what's the difference between embedded and enterprise analytics with SAP Analytics Cloud? In embedded, SAC is embedded in the UX of the embedding application, as we saw in the demos also. And there is a live connectivity to the application directly. It is not possible to connect this embedded SAC to other data sources. The application can deliver predefined content for the analytics business workflows that the application supports. The tenants that are provisioned for embedded SAC are always automated provisions. So it's a complete automation, not just provisioning of the tenants, but also the configuration of the connectivity, the IDP setup, integration. All this is coming out of the box, and the customer does not have to take care of this if they want to use embedded SAC in applications. The administrative aspects of SAC are mostly not available as standard SAC UI in these applications, but they are consumed by the application as APIs and integrated into the administration workflow of the application. When it comes to licensing, There is no additional licensing required for embedded SAC. The application's licensing takes care of it. When SAC is used embedded in the business technology platform, in that case, the cloud credits are used for the commercialization. The query builder and multi-tenancy support are available for applications which are using the OEM integration service, for instance, SuccessFactors. Now coming to enterprise analytics. Enterprise analytics with SAC is the full-blown SAC, which has planning, all smart features, predictive. It's possible to connect multiple data sources, SAP and non-SAP data sources, to do cross-analytics. Here also predefined business content is delivered by SAP and also by SAP's partner ecosystem. The administrative aspects are all handled by the SAC's administration UIs. And here, the commercialization is done through the licensing model of SAP Analytics Cloud for the Enterprise Edition. Now let's have a look at SAP Analytics Cloud Embedded Edition in SAP Cloud Platform. What's the motivation behind providing SAP Analytics Cloud as an embedded edition in the business technology platform? Well, we want to provide a very seamless development experience by the use of SAP Analytics Cloud Embedded Edition as a reusable service on SAP Cloud Platform, and also have the same commercial model through CPEA. So let me now show you steps on how we can do this embedding of SAP Analytics Cloud Embedded Edition into your application in the business technology platform. In SAP Cloud Platform, please go to Service Marketplace and select SAC Embedded Edition. You can select the service plan. Currently there's one service plan, but we are going to soon have several others. Once you've selected your service plan, you can trigger the creation of your SAC instance. And then bind this to your application. Once you have done this, you will have access to 3 endpoints. You have these endpoints: service for the UI embedding integration, config for all configuration purposes, and skim for user management. Now that you have the endpoints, go to the business application studio of your application in the sub account and use the iframe to embed your SAC story through the API. The solution architecture looks this way. In SAP Cloud Platform, you have your sub account where your application resides. In your application, you embed SAC, and this SAC is connected to your SAP HANA database of your application. So that's a live connectivity. And you can configure and embed your SAC story using the APIs available. Also, there are APIs available for listing your stories, as well as was the case also with SuccessFactors when they use the listing. You also are able to configure your corporate IDP to this SAC tenant. So far we have spoken about embedded analytics with SAC. Now let's have a look at cross-analytics. Scaling out from embedded to cross-analytics in the intelligent enterprise, as we move from left to right in this diagram, the complexity of your scenarios that can be supported for cross analytics increases, and so does the total cost of ownership for the technologies provided. So when it comes to embedded SAC, which we have discussed at length, you are connecting to the database of your single application's data. So there's no cross analytics involved here. With SAP Analytics Cloud Enterprise Edition, you can do browser-based blending to blend data across different applications or across different data sources. But there are some limitations on the data volume and also the UI functionality that's supported for blended models. For more data warehousing related functionalities, it is best to use Data Warehouse Cloud as well. With Data Warehouse Cloud, when we are using a federation-based approach, the TCO for your Data Warehouse Cloud is very minimal because you are accessing all your data real time from ideally HANA data sources. For a full-blown, most complex cross-analytics use case, you would use a consolidated central data model in Data Warehouse Cloud and have this data model filled in with the data on a predefined basis, or also have a live data access through this consolidation layer. In the case of Data Warehouse Cloud and SAC together, SAC is the presentation layer for analytics, and it has a live connectivity to SAP Data Warehouse Cloud to easily consume the data from DWC. Let's look at an example of cross analytics. This is the financial analytics dashboard for SAP Analytics Cloud, which is delivered as standard business content with the Q4 release of SAP Analytics Cloud. Here we are looking at two data sources, SAP S/4HANA Cloud and SAP SuccessFactors, and we will see how with Data Warehouse Cloud and SAC we are able to do cross-reporting. So let's have a look at that demo.
As we all know, the current crisis is having a tremendous impact across all industries, especially retail. But all companies must adapt and be able to pivot their initiatives. Many are counting on their CFOs to be the guide in their ability to adjust to rapid changes and to have instantaneous access to insight and tools that will help them translate that insight and take decisive action. Imagine you are Megan, who is the CFO of an activewear company. She is leveraging her dashboard to analyze the overall operational efficiency of her company. Revenue and sales were declining around Q2 because many of the retail stores were closed since the beginning of pandemic, but an online shopping surge offsets all those declines. They had to furlough some of their employees working in retail stores, but slowly rehiring back. Megan is continually managing expenses through the help of her dashboard and slowly opening up stores by leveraging the lessons learned from experiences in other countries that were able to control the pandemic. What you are seeing here is a preview of the upcoming Financial Analytics Dashboard best practice that is tailored for a chief financial officer analyzing insights across cloud applications such as SAP S/4HANA Cloud and SAP SuccessFactors. The dashboard consists of 3 pages: KPI overview, financial performance, and workforce performance. The KPI overview and financial performance pages are constructed with live data connection to the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Core Data Services view, while the workforce performance page is utilizing SAP Data Warehouse Cloud, combining data from SAP S/4HANA Cloud and SAP SuccessFactors. Let's look into each pages. KPI overview page consists of top financial key performance indicators, which shows year-over-year variance and trend analysis. The KPIs can be compared to different plan versions such as budget and forecast, and also can be compared to different time ranges such as year-over-year or current period versus last period. Megan sees that the operating margin has gone down compared to last year and the plan, even though the revenue and profit have increased over year. She also sees the operating expense and cost of goods sold are increasing. Let's analyze the trend at a quarterly level to see which KPIs have dipped or increased. There is a consistent decline in both the revenue and profit in Q2 compared to what was expected in the plan. On the other hand, revenue and profit had gone up in Q3, even though operating expense and cost of goods sold have increased. There could be several factors as to the reason why a sudden down and up trend. This lends the opportunity for Megan and her team to do further analysis. Now let's look at the Financial Performance tab. This page consists of top performers based on revenue by different dimensions and supporting key performance indicators around the balance sheet and income statement. If we look into the customer group in the past 2 years, revenue has been coming from the stores, but this year is coming from direct to consumers. The pandemic has really changed the buying patterns of the company's customers. Glancing over to the supporting financial KPIs, the company has a wealthy working capital with additional accounts receivable to be collected. Overall, the assets to liabilities ratio is pretty strong. Now let's look at the workforce performance page where we combine data from the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Finance and SuccessFactors HR to analyze key performance indicators and understand economics of people business. The workforce performance page consists of key performance indicators such as total workforce cost ratio, which tells us how much a company is investing in human capital compared to the overall total expense. It comprises of expenses related to KPIs divided by full-time equivalent employees, which gives us the average spend per FTE. Megan sees that workforce cost ratio has constantly increased the past 3 years. The overall operating expense per FTE is less compared to last year, even though the number of employees have increased. Payroll and employee-related expenses are steady, but there's a huge increase in office expense. This could be due to the fact that most employees are now working from home and the order for office equipment have increased. Last year, the company invested more in the marketing department, but this year, especially in the second half, the company's workforce is mainly focused on distribution and sourcing and manufacturing. This is because of the uncertainty that the pandemic brought to the suppliers, procurement, and delivery of goods and finished products. Here you can also see the breakdown of the KPIs used to calculate total workforce cost ratio and how it is trending over time compared to the plan. The next section allows you to analyze financial KPIs and FTE by cost center to see which cost centers contribute more to the overall expense of the company. As you can see, sourcing and manufacturing plus distribution is the main strategic investment. Last but not the least, here are employee-related measures. You can see the FTE trend going up as mentioned earlier, even though the operating expense went down. These additional insights may help Megan make strategical human capital decisions that may be critical to the profitability of the company and its plans for growth and expansion. With the Financial Analytics Dashboard, we are able to pre-deliver quick time to value and flexible cross-application analytics solution for the CFO to monitor and act on the most critical business metrics and improve the company's overall financial and human resource health. Now let's take a look at the SAP Data Warehouse Cloud system to show some of the models used as data source for the cross-application workforce performance page. What you are seeing here is the SAP Data Warehouse Cloud, and specifically the Data Builder section, in which you create views and tables to prepare your data for consumption through the SAP Analytics Cloud. The best practice Data Warehouse Cloud content, such as the Financial Analytics Dashboard, will be available for import from the SAP and partner content space. You can search for all the finance domain models by typing SAP_FI, or you can search for SAP HR for all the HR domain models. Above these domain models are the cross-application models used as analytical dataset for the SAP Analytics Cloud consumption. You can search for all the analytical dataset used for the workforce performance page by typing SAP_X_E. Now let's look at the business catalog to see some details of one particular analytical dataset, SAP Expense Overtime. You can see all the fields in this specific analytical dataset model, which contains the variables used to calculate the key performance indicators, such as operating expense per FTE, and also the data lineage. In this data lineage, you can see all the views used, such as the general ledger line item and the planning data combined with HR tables, which support the cross-application data needs. This is just a quick introduction of how SAP Data Warehouse Cloud is leveraged to combine data from multiple SAP Cloud applications to produce key performance indicators from different lines of business.
I hope this demo gives you a good insight as to how cross-analytics can be addressed with SAP Analytics Cloud and Data Warehouse Cloud together. You can find more information on these topics in the related TechEd sessions and in these websites. And please remember to subscribe to the learning experience of TechEd. That brings me to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much.